Good Tuesday evening, June 17th, and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Here are a few of the stories we have coming up for you tonight. The Palmus Fire continues to grow as it moves in towards the Palmus Creek area. A Malaga man was arrested by police on suspicion of stabbing a Wenatchee man last week with a knife. Warm and windy weather expected for Wednesday, including a fire weather watch. More coming up in your full local weather forecast. Law enforcement says the hunt for accused child murderer Dryden Decker continues in the north central Washington backcountry, particularly in areas of northern Kittitas County. The sheriff's office there says people traveling or camping in areas adjacent to Blewett Pass, including Liberty, Red Bridge Road, and Teanaway, should be alert and report any suspicious people or circumstances. Air searches have been conducted in the Swak Creek drainage, and ground teams continue reconnaissance in the Enchantment Lakes Wilderness area in Chelan County. Decker has been the target of a major manhunt since the bodies of his three young daughters, Olivia, Evelyn, and Paityn, were found at a remote campsite west of Leavenworth on June 2nd. He's charged with 3 counts each of murder and kidnapping, and a $20,000 reward is offered for information leading to his arrest. Call 911 immediately if you believe you've seen him. Information about the case can be given by phone at 1-800-336-0102 or at usmarshals.gov/tips. While authorities seek their killer, the community prepares to remember Paityn, Olivia, and Evelyn Decker, the 3 Wenatchee sisters murdered more than 2 weeks ago. In the aftermath, well-wishers built a makeshift shrine to the girls' memory in Memorial Park. The artwork, toys, and other gifts are now being preserved by Brookside Funeral Home, which is conducting the girls' funeral arrangements. More gifts are added to the display every day at Brookside, and Director Jamin Moeller tells NCWLIFE News if you still wish to contribute a keepsake, his office at 201 North Mission Street will continue to accept mementos through next week before turning them over to the Decker family. The children will be remembered in a public memorial service this Friday, starting at 7 p.m. in the park at Rocky Reach Dam.
The family asked that we go over there and transport all of those items here to Brookside and then reestablish the memorial site. And the city had also taken boxes of items just for the safekeeping of those because they were getting sprinklered, and in the heat it was helpful to have them sheltered. So now everything is here and kept safely and sheltered.
Can you characterize the kind of gifts, the kind of mementos that have been left?
Very personal and very touching, and specific to each girl. Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia all have their own little niche, different items that mean something special to them. Those kind of things have been brought here by folks that knew them and folks that didn't. We've had people travel the state to come here to leave an item or 2 or 3 and then return home. Ferndale, the west side, folks have traveled, even though they don't know the family, but to support them through this. It is our intent to have this memorial site here through this week, with the service being on Friday, and then through the following week. And folks have come by the dozens daily to drop off items, and now we have the register book so they can come here and sign the registry. We have memorial decals that they're welcome to come and place on the back of their vehicle or on their Yeti or wherever they'd like to remember the girls, and so those are available here with the registry from the service. There's a shared grief, not just in this community, but really around the nation and around the globe. People realize the tragedy that happened in Wenatchee, of all places. And I have said frequently that death often brings out the best in people. Sometimes it can bring out the worst, but often it brings out the best. And people come just from their own shared experience of grief to leave a memorial item and feel like they're making a difference for Whitney and the family. People should know that it's appreciated and that they're welcome here 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, to bring items. We encourage folks to come and pay their respects and leave a tribute in honor of the girls.
The Palmus Fire continues to grow as it moves in towards the Palmus Creek area. Since the start of the fire on Friday, it has burned roughly 362 acres. On Sunday, 2 helicopters and 4 air tanker scoopers focused on limiting new growth along the Wanache River, while also using a rocky avalanche chute to hold the fire from spreading further down valley toward Myrtle Lake. On Monday, scoopers provided air resources, but firefighters say dead timber, west winds, and low humidity have been a constant challenge. While crews work on the fire, several trails and lake accesses will remain closed, including Glacier Peak Wilderness, Ice Lakes, Myrtle Lake, Wanache River Trail number 1400, Duncan Hill Trail number 1434, Snowy Brush Trail number 1230, and Garland Peak Trail number 1408. There are no current evacuations in effect for the area. Operators reviewing the weekend security footage from the Dryden Transfer Station got a surprise recently. A trespasser in the tipping bay of the facility trying hard but not hard enough to put out a fire on his shoe. The footage was recorded early Sunday morning at the transfer station off Highway 2 near the Big Y interchange. Chelan County Public Works, the agency that manages the station, says the trespasser's identity remains unknown, as does the condition of his feet. When we come back, a Malaga man was arrested by police on suspicion of stabbing a Wenatchee man last week with a knife. And Wenatchee families looking to cool off this summer can soon enjoy the wading pools in several local parks. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Now there are even more reasons to meet at the Palmus Market. Outdoor dining and tastings, the fabulous farmers market, Saturday artisans on the concourse, and your favorites all week long. No matter the reason, it's always time to meet at the Palmus Market. Palmus Market, where community meets.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Caught in a conflict? Family, workplace, neighbor, business, housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
A Malaga man was arrested by police on suspicion of stabbing a Wenatchee man last week with a knife. Wenatchee police say the 47-year-old victim was stabbed June 12th in the 1500 block of South Wenatchee Avenue by 31-year-old Frederico Javier Bernal Jimenez. Bernal allegedly pursued the victim on foot after the attack before giving up the chase. Our media partner, the Wenatchee World, reports Bernal was booked into the Chelan County Regional Justice Center on Saturday on suspicion of first-degree assault. On Monday, Judge Travis Brandt ordered him held in the Chelan County Jail in lieu of $100,000 bond. Prosecutors have until Wednesday to file formal charges. Confluence Health has announced Jeanette Townsend as its new Chief Financial Officer. The nonprofit says that Townsend brings more than 25 years of experience in financial positions with the healthcare industry. In her position, Confluence says Townsend will continue the health services efforts to redesign primary care, increase and promote digital engagement, and expand access as a part of its mission. Confluence CEO Dr. Andrew Jones said he looks forward to Townsend's collaborative approach in providing care to the residents of North Central Washington. Wenatchee families looking to cool off this summer can soon enjoy the wading pools in several local parks. The pools located at Pennsylvania, Washington, and Kiwanis Meadow parks will open on Monday for the summer. Kids can enjoy games, crafts, and activities led by city staff or just go splash around in the cool water. All children under the age of 6 must be accompanied by an adult. Those pools are open Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. until August 15th. Coming up next in tonight's feature story, we will tell you about a rare, hard-to-find plant species near Leavenworth called stickseed. Warm and windy Wednesday. That's what we expect with weather for tomorrow, with cooler and wetter weather on tap this weekend. I'll have all the details coming up in your full local weather forecast. That and much more still to come tonight. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Merry Maids can clean your entire home, business, or vacation rental from top to bottom, inside and out. Merry Maids will even take care of cleaning your carpets, and they can pressure wash your home. Merry Maids has thousands of happy customers. They've been cleaning homes and businesses in our valley for over 25 years. Check out their glowing reviews at merrymaidesofwenatchee.com and call the cleaning experts, Merry Maids, to get your free estimate. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, so relax, it's done.
Welcome to Mountain Chick Floral, your go-to flower and plant shop in downtown Wenatchee. Explore their wide variety of unusual and fun plants. And when you buy a plant in a container, they'll pot it up for you absolutely free. Birthday or weddings, they'll create the perfect floral arrangement for you. Brighten up your office with fresh blooms delivered to your door or business. Ask about floral subscriptions. Visit Mountain Chick Floral today, where every occasion is a reason to celebrate with flowers.
Last summer, we took you out in the field with biologists studying one of Central Washington's rare plants, the Wenatchee Mountains checker mallow. But there's an even more hard-to-find plant species that grows only near Leavenworth, and it has a very specific needs. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service brings you this documentary on the extremely rare wildflower known as stickseed.
Sometimes it's really hard to grasp why one particular rare plant should be worthy of so much attention. But when you start thinking about all the other life at that site that might use this particular plant, whether it's a pollinator or an insect or some other species, you start understanding the network of lives that are integral to making an ecosystem healthy. Showy stickseed is a rare native plant in the Boraginaceae, or the forget-me-not family. We only know of one location where this very rare endemic plant occurs, and that's in central Washington near Leavenworth. And it grows on extremely steep hills on loose, coarse granitic sand. So it's a really unique site, and that probably is why its distribution is so limited. We've been working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to do outplantings at both the native site as well as new introduction sites. Members in this genus, Hakelia, typically occur on these very steep, loose substrates, and they seem to be adapted to living in these environments. When the seeds are shed from the plant, they tumble down the slope and get abraded by the coarse substrate. What we have found when we've tried to germinate these seeds is that the seed coats prevent the embryo from developing. So we actually have to physically cut into and remove the nutlet as well as a portion of the seed coat to allow the embryo to start root development. After seed excision, germination will start. And Once we see that, we will pot the embryos, put them into plugs with a soil mix that we've determined works well for growing these in the nursery. Outplantings are one of the tools we have to try to build resilience and redundancy for these species. Right now, we have only one known site. And if there was a catastrophic event on that site, for instance, a landslide, and these are very steep, loose sites, we could lose a significant portion of the population. So by establishing new sites, we can build some redundancy into the population and better protect it for long term. The outplanting for this plant is particularly difficult, and the sites we're working on are steep with 40% slopes. They have a lot of loose rock and sand, and so we have to be very careful about maneuvering around on the site. And we're trying to carry up over 200 plants to these sites, so we have a big load. We use forestry tree planting bags to help us get that load up the hill. In the near term, we're going to be visiting these sites each spring to see how many plants survive the winter season the first year, and then the full summer, hot summer, and winter the next year. We also pay particular attention to the exact location where we put these plants in the ground, trying to do meticulous microsite selection. So we'll be looking at whether that improved our survivorship and performance.
Time now for a check of your north central Washington weather forecast. Hope you had a fantastic Tuesday, another warm one out there. And as we take a look outside our weather window from this afternoon, looking at our Billy Goat Sky-Fi tower, our Billy Goat tower camera. Yeah, a little smoky up that way. Lots of haze along the horizon north of, in the Omak area and up around Oroville and Tonasket. Some haze from those Canadian wildfires that are still producing a lot of smoke. Even Europe is seeing some of that smoke from those Canadian fires. But all in all, a pretty nice day today. It's all going to change a little bit tomorrow. We're not only going to cool down just slightly. Unfortunately, the winds will pick up, and we will have a fire weather watch in place for Wednesday. Wenatchee, we could see gusts around 30 miles an hour tomorrow, about 25 for Moses Lake, and about 25 miles an hour up in Omak as well. But we could see strong, steady winds, 10 to 20 miles throughout the Columbia Basin and up around the Waterville Plateau tomorrow. And then unsettled as we get you into Friday. We're going to take a big dip in temperatures by the end of the week and into the weekend. And look at that. Even snow levels dropping to 5,000 feet in the Cascades. And you know when that happens, we're going to see some cooler temperatures. In fact, I don't think we're going to get out of the 60s on Saturday, with about a 50-50 chance that we will see some rain. And boy, could we ever use it around here. Today, high temperature, another warm one, 85 degrees. That's 7 degrees above our normal of 78. 105, our record. Remember, yesterday, also 1961, it was 104. So those were some brutal days back in the middle of June in 1961. 59 this morning, 4 degrees above our normal low of 55. Our record low set in 1981 of 44 degrees. Sunrise this morning, 5:03, and it sets tonight at 9 p.m. All right, taking a look at what we can expect as we get you into our midweek Wednesday. Temperatures will drop just a little bit for Wednesday. Mid-80s still, though, for Moses Lake and Ephrata. 84 in Quincy, and then 81s from Ellensburg through Wenatchee, Eniat, and into Chelan. 79 in Leavenworth, and 80 your high temperature tomorrow in Kashmir. But keep in mind, we will see those pretty gusty winds in in the afternoon. Tonight, clear skies out there. Still a ridge of high pressure over the Pacific Northwest. That'll keep our weather stable tonight. We'll see mild temperatures with lows once again near 60 degrees. All kinds of clear sky tonight. And then, yes, here is that wind as we get into Wednesday. Low pressure to our east, high pressure and low pressure to our west, and that's tightening up these pressure gradients on Wednesday. High temperatures in the low 80s. We might even see a red flag warning put in place as we get into Wednesday. For Thursday, high clouds out there, maybe a breeze in the afternoon. Nothing like we'll see tomorrow with high temperatures on Thursday into those low 80s, so not a bad day for Thursday. And then as we get into Friday, things begin to change a little bit. More breezy conditions for our first day of summer, mostly cloudy skies. It will be, as I mentioned, windy at times with about a 20% chance of showers. Look at those temperatures too. We're going to drop below normal on Friday with high temperatures in the mid 70s, and then getting into the weekend doesn't look all that nice. Cloudy skies, a 50% chance of rain and cooler. High temperatures only in the upper 60s. That'll be about 10 degrees cooler than we should be for this time of year on Saturday. And then for your Sunday, we're going to stay with clouds in our forecast, mostly cloudy, about a 40% chance of very scattered rain showers on Sunday. High temperatures will drop down, I should say rise back up into the low 70s, but that's still below where we should be. And by the end of our forecast on Monday, partly cloudy and warmer, another giant area of high pressure building in the Pacific. We will see highs on Monday jump back up into the low 80s. All right, taking a look at your 7-day forecast. 59 overnight tonight, so another mild one. Windy for your Wednesday and 81. I still think we'll see some breezes Thursday and once again into Friday. 81 Thursday and a big temperature drop as we get into the end of the week. 74 for Friday and then a good chance for showers both Saturday and Sunday. Only 68 the high temperature Saturday, 73 on Sunday. Partly cloudy and warmer for Monday with a high temperature then of 81 degrees. And that's a look at your North Central Washington weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Grandstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
The pitch by Busich. Wenatchee Apple Sox are back on the NCWLIFE channel. Watch as they take on the Victoria Harbor Cats on Friday, June 27th. Coverage brought to you by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. Also by Abby's Pizza, Apple Valley Honda, Biosports Physical Therapy, Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate, Global Car Care, Harvest Valley Pest Control, and Highlander Golf Course and Grill. Your exclusive television home for Apple Sox baseball is the NCWLIFE channel. And a good Tuesday to you. Boston won a pitcher's duel with the Mariners Monday at T-Mobile Park. 2-0 the final. Lucas Giolito went strike for strike with Logan Gilbert, and each starter struck out 10 batters in the Red Sox victory in Game 1 of that 3-game series. The big difference was that Gilbert, making his first start since being on the injured list for a couple of months, gave up a solo home run. The two teams combined for just 8 hits in the game.
And a high fly ball. That's driven deep to right center. It's back there. She is gone. Home run, Roman Anthony. #1. Red Sox quickly on the scoreboard. What a moment for the kid. He gets to Logan Gilbert and knocks it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, you got a little two-seamer right here, 96 miles an hour. It's actually a really good pitch by Gilbert up and away. Just catches the corner, and Roman, he crowds the plate so he can really reach that pitch. You see how strong that kid is. Wow.
Duran at third. Ground ball and a diving play by Young. Bobbled it a bit. He will not get him, and the run scores. Duran in to touch home. 2-0 Boston. 1-2. Got him. Well, you nailed it on that four-seamer, and he struck him out. That's a huge out for Giolito.
Take advantage of that aggressive swing and get above that barrel. That was perfectly executed.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 2 down.
That's a filthy sequence right there, right? The fastball's up early. He buries the breaking ball. In the mind of the hitter, you're thinking, here comes the fastball again. It looks just like it out of the hand, and look at that thing disappear down and in. That was a great pitch.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and he gets out of that. He leaves him loaded with 3 consecutive strikeouts.
An 0-2 breaking ball about 57 feet. Kyle Rowley couldn't hold back on that. To your point, a Houdini act.
Earlier tonight, as is the tradition, we had the salmon race here inside T-Mobile Park. J.P. Crawford with that bag of seeds, taking it in. He was an invested spectator in this. His wife, Kathy, is racing as King Salmon. Oh, wow. And, you know, just like after a walk-off win, yeah, you got to bring the seeds out there. How did that happen? Here's the best part.
0-2. Cut on and missed strike 3. That does it. Red Sox win it 2-0.
Seattle and Boston meet again tonight at 6:40. That'll be on Root Sports Northwest. Well, Seattle remains 4.5 games behind Houston in the American League West as the Astros fell to the Athletics 3-1. Texas is a half game behind Seattle. Angels improved to 34-37 with a 1-0 11-inning win over the Yankees. After a night off Monday, the Wenatchee Apple Sox are back with a non-league game at home tonight. Fresh off a sweep of Port Angeles, Wenatchee is hosting the Dub C Fish Sticks at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium tonight at 6:35. This is the first of 2 games before the Apple Sox hit the road for Edmonton on Friday. Fish Sticks, bring your coleslaw. There was only 1 game in the West Coast League last night in Corvallis. The Knights dropped an extra inning affair to Springfield when the Drifters' Isaiah Ibarra drove home the go-ahead run in the top of the 11th inning on an RBI double. Michael Klein finished off the Knights 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 11th to give Springfield their 4th win of the summer. Well, the rest of the league faces one another tonight with Kelowna at Port Angeles. Walla Walla is hosting Kamloops. Nanaimo visits Victoria. The Marion Berries host their 2nd ever game in the West Coast League at Bush's Pasture Park on the campus of Willamette University. They're playing Ridgefield tonight. Corvallis plays at Cowlitz. Bend hosts Springfield. Bellingham visits Edmonton tonight at 7:05. Portland takes on Yakima Valley at 7:15. How about the Pickles? They're off to an incredible 14-1 start. Well, speaking of records, both Bellingham and Wanache are 11-4 and share the top spot in the WCL's North Division. Kamloops is 2 games back, while Edmonton is 2.5 back. Well, 5 classes of racing helped celebrate Dad over the weekend at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. Track owner Garrett Evans, the Big Daddy in all of things WVSO, won the Rockstar Energy Beamon main event. Wenatchee's Cody Vickery was 2nd, followed by Wenatchee's Brandon Knuff. East Wenatchee's Jason Walker grabbed the checkered flag in the Plum Perfect Roadrunner main event. 2nd was East Wenatchee's Spencer Hamilton, and Wenatchee's Jay Evans finished 3rd. Ron Wilbur came over from Lacey to win the Apple Valley Pumping Crown Vic Stocks main event. He was followed by Pilot Rock, Oregon's Kedrick Preston. Cashmere's Robert Morley was finishing 3rd. Crowd highlight of the night on Saturday was the Johnson Electric Bump to Pass cars. Auburn's Tony Timlick took the checkered flag among the debris on the course. Yakima's Kelly Zachariah was 2nd, followed by Brewster's Chris Jett. Kellen Ingram topped the podium in the B&T Towing Youth Roadrunners main event. 2nd was Wenatchee's Reagan Moore, and Cody Griffith finished out the field. He was from Yakima. Track will be busy again this coming Saturday with a freestyle motocross and porta potty 100. Besides the freestyle motocross, featured racing will include the Jerry's Auto Supply late models, also Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder cars, Knutson General Contracting Bandoleros, and the Zero Handicap Mini Bombers. Gates will open at 4:30. Racing starts at 6 o'clock. Go to WVSO.com for tickets and more information. That's Check of Sports News. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a happy Tuesday.
And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more news from around North Central Washington, you can find us at NCWLIFE.com, on our social media channels, or on our mobile app for iPhone and Android. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. Email us at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks so much for being with us, and have a great night.